They couldn't hear the question, and the answers were all about what they needed. The answers were about boreholes and fertilizer and transport and money for school fees and so out of this quite big disappointment, actually, Kufunda Learning Village was born. It's a picture there from one of the huts of the village. And I'm not going to say a lot about Kufunda, but just to say that Kufunda was a place for us to engage in this question more deeply, and that perhaps after hundreds of years of being told that you are nothing and that you are actually backward and with nothing of value, it's hard to suddenly answer the question of what is my strength, what is my wisdom, what is my beauty. And so it became a place to go and say, well, what is that? What do we know? And so it's become a place where people have been allowed to believe in themselves once again, to believe in who they are and what they have to offer, and perhaps equally importantly, to believe in their dreams. And so from focusing very much on storytelling and more of the individual and the storyline, it became, the questions became a bit more applied. So given who we are and the resources we have and the wealth that we have, what do we know about creating healthy and vibrant community? What do we know about this? Because we want to put these resources and this wisdom of Africa to use in a good way, and so let's look at how we can create healthy and vibrant community. And one of the first answers was pretty obvious, self-evident, and yet it wasn't. What we need is community. To create healthy and vibrant community, we need community. When I returned from Denmark to be on this quest, I didn't know anything about actual rural life, and I didn't know anything about agriculture or health or farming or all the things that you do need to create healthy and vibrant community. But I trusted that as we come together, me and all the others that I invite into this quest with me, we will find the answers. And we have the answers that we need. We have the knowledge that we need. And when we don't, we extend our circle and our we a little bit more, and we ask our neighbor for help. And so it's not about just looking inward. It is also about reaching out, but beginning from our own strength, our own knowledge. And so I want to give just a few examples of what becomes possible when we begin from this place that we all have something of value, and that as we come together with each other, we can release it into the community. So over the years, we've learned many things about renewable energy, about food production, about all the practical things, but also a lot about actually allowing people's spirit to shine. And so just 3 small stories of that. Alan Mahachi, a young dreadlocked Rasta from the city of Harare, came out to Kufunda. His mum had just got a piece of land nearby, and he'd had some problems in town, I'm not sure what. But he came, and he was kind of like a little bit like a dog with a tail between his legs. He was like, he wanted to find a place of kind of where I need to find a new place to try and do something and put myself to use. And actually it took years. He continued. The village called him jokingly our lost teenager. But in a few weeks he's welcoming back 3 women that have traveled to India for 6 months to become solar engineers. He sent them. His passion is about solar energy and how we harness this power for electrifying, so we can use our computers, because he's also a little techie. He's gone off, he's learned things, he's traveled to Germany and taught other youth about basics of solar, and him and his wife are in the process of finding ways of solarizing Kufunda. In some ways you'd say, a youngster with no real education, a little bit of space, a little bit of community, and he's come back bearing many, many gifts. We had 2 security guards arriving at Kufunda. We live out, people come and they cut down firewood because they have no other way of securing income. So we have people walking around on the land to look after our trees. So we had one guy who was a security guard who started there. And again, from this place, everyone has something to give. And maybe you're a security guard in your formal title, but what else do you have? And so we discovered entrepreneurial spirit, green fingers. It was two brothers, in fact. The one has become a passionate mushroom grower, working with someone here in the audience, Chido. And last year went to Ghana for 4 years to teach communities there about how to grow your own protein. Another has become passionate about youth work. And so again, gifts coming back from people who many would say have not much to offer and are in fact a part of the problem. And final story of people who we often disregard but have so much to offer, the women in our communities. So much there. We went to Rusape on Wednesday and we were with a woman, Lillian Divaripo. She had recently been told to shut down her preschool. She's running a small school for orphans in the community because it was run out of a home. And the local school had said it has to be more formal, it can't be in someone's home. I don't really understand why our women aren't allowed to look after children in the home, but this was the case. She had mobilized the community, the headman had given a new piece of land, and with youth from Kufunda, they've just come back tonight, 3 days building the basics of a new infrastructure. They've built a beautiful playground with seesaws and swings using all natural materials. We brought some nails and some paint to make it colorful for the kids. And we said to her, but how are you going to make sure that they'll let you open up again? And she said, I'm going to go with the women, and I'm going to go with the headman and the chief and the council, and I've told them already that they're coming with me, and we're going to the headmaster, and we're going to tell him that he will allow us to open this school. These children need us. And I was just sitting there, and I was just struck by her power and her confidence and her passion. And these are people that have begun once again to believe that they have value, regardless of the clothes they wear, the education they have, or in this case often don't have, and they found their passion. So from problems to be solved by development workers, they're becoming bearers of gifts, creative contributors to their community, to our country. And this story is not actually about poor rural Zimbabweans. It's not even about poor people in rural communities anywhere in the world. It's about people. It's about every single one of us having something to contribute. Someone spoke about the middle class that wasn't really doing anything with its gifts, kind of just plodding along, watching TV. We each have, I don't know, it's this spark of what will I do, what will I give? I have value to offer and I have to come together with others to give it. Whatever the problem, community is the answer. Rural Zimbabwe, India, Brazil, but also urban Tokyo, New York, London. This is coming through so clearly for us. We often think that community is the problem. If only I could do it on my own. I know how to do it and everyone else is just like holding me back. Let me get on with it. But actually, we need to come back together. We need each other to find the solutions. As I share my gifts, as you share your beautiful gifts, as we learn to come together, something more can happen. But for that to happen, and this is my final point for this evening, for us to learn to come together as whole, strong, beautiful, incredible human beings that we are, and there are many of us here, all of us here tonight, we need to also learn to work in different ways. I started by saying that independence is not the absence of the British. Oh my God, I find their structures, and this is not against any criticism against the British, but structures of that were left behind by the colonizers so many years ago are still here. Command and control ways of working, hierarchies that are constricting and constraining us are still here. We are trying to find solutions to our challenges, and we are stuck in old ways of working that will only allow us a fraction of our creative potential. And so if we really want to rise, the new Zimbabwe, someone was saying to us recently, the phoenix rising from the ashes, we also have to question how we are working. I'm working on this project, which is an incredible project with leaders from all walks of life, these ones with differing levels of education, and we came together to agree on principles for how we want it to be together. We're going to be together for a period of several months. And one of the key principles was we will speak through the chair and facilitator. And I just thought, what? Is that really an important principle? We're meant to create pictures of the future. And again, it's kind of this, I'm not saying we don't need facilitators or chairpersons, but just that to create, and we come forward with these kinds of very old, in my view, ideas. Our schools are killing the creative spirit of our children. Rote learning. Our kids are being graded on how well they copy what the teacher has said. I don't care at their ability to copy what the teacher has said. I want to know their dreams. This young, wonderful woman, I want to know what they can imagine that I can't imagine. I want to know what they want to see for their future. And then I want us to find the best possible ways to equip them with the skills to begin to make that happen. We need all of us, so much more of all of us, if we're to rise. And not just as Zimbabwe. The world today is facing unprecedented challenges. I mean, turn on the news and look at our financial crises, our social crises, so many things. And I think something new can come from here. We can let go of the past, let go of it, and actually begin to work with things that work. Experiment. I was told in the beginning of Kufunda, don't speak about experimenting. It sounds like you don't know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Do you? and can we begin to acknowledge that and then find the way? So what we're learning, and before I say what we're learning, this is my very last, I haven't seen any time check. I just want to show a few pictures of, these are people that have so much to give, and I think we disregard them, and I think we disregard ourselves as well. So just a few images, if it works. That one. Yeah? There we go. And so we're learning to work with questions rather than answers. Questions point to the future. Answers often point to the past. We're learning to bring in every single voice, even the ones we don't really want to listen to, because they can bring in different perspectives and views. We're learning to work in more creative ways, more playful ways. We're learning to bring in the voice of the children, the voice of the elder, the different views, the different perspectives. We're learning that we make the path by walking it, that it's one step at a time. We tried the 5-year plans and they don't work. We know kind of where we're aiming for, but then we actually make it up as we go along. And so I wish I could speak a lot more about the way of working, and I think to leave you here tonight simply with this really strong experience that we need to just find new ways of working if we're to release this possibility that's in here and join hands with each other and move towards a different future. And so I long for our wild African soul to infuse this construct that we've called modernity, to kind of, you know, surprise people, to bring something new into the world. I long for all of us to bring more of ourselves, and not just Africans, white people, Japanese, whatever, it doesn't matter. And finally, I long for us to have this experience that I look across the room and I look into someone's eyes and I assume immediately that you are a miracle to be embraced. And then I go on my way to find out how best I can do that. And so I look forward to being on that journey with all of you here. Thank you.